Okay. This is actually take number two. So if anybody ever wonders whether this is live when I'm doing this without editing, this is the perfect example. I was just live about 5 minutes ago and the mic wasn't working, and I'm going to wait for a couple of people to jump on, make sure that my audio is correct. It's been one of those things. I feel like actually I wasn't quite on vacation this week, but a little bit of a break, kind of like a working vacation. And I think everybody needs that just to re-energize and refresh. I think that's really, really important. And I think it's what's also really important is that I do a some kind of market update every single week just to give everybody a chance to figure out what's really going on in the marketplace. I want to be a person that's going to bring in a lot of value. And so let me know if you can. All right, sound is good. Rock, appreciate that, brother. So yeah, I'm not sure what I did. It's interesting. Just like I was saying before, technology is an interesting thing sometimes, and some of us become challenged. I was actually in Anna Maria Island this past week, and I saw a typewriter, so it made me think about technology and how the changes in technology have changed. So including this is actually a pretty good system I'm using here that allows me to brand the video. As you can see at the top, Realty Executives in the Bills, and of course our website, Buy Sell the Bills, is on the bottom without editing, right? Like everything I'm doing here is live. So that one, it helps me execute. I'm really all about, I'd like for everything to look pretty, of course, but I'm really more about giving everybody tons and tons of value. So I'm going to begin this way. I'm going to tell you this. I had a very interesting conversation with one of my agents this week, and we were talking about a little bit of an adjustment in the marketplace. So if you're thinking about selling right now, and I think this is pretty much everywhere because it's not only with this particular agent here locally in the villages, but I've been having this conversation with many, many of my coaching clients because I coach a lot of people around the country, specifically in Southern California, and I've got Wisconsin and Cayman Islands and New York. They're all over the place. But the common theme right now in real estate is, we're not seeing a market crash. That's not what we're seeing. But we are seeing a little bit of a softening in the real estate market, a softening in the real estate market. And when I say softening, I think it's relative. It's not soft. It just means that, the market was just going so crazy that it's hard to compare to it, and it was really hard to sustain. We saw this probably it's a good 5 month run, pretty much from end of January all the way through June, and now we're seeing a market that I think is a little bit more normal and very typical of the season. That's the overall tenor of what I'm hearing from a lot of agents, a lot of realtors around the country, and I'm hearing that from a lot of our realtors locally, in the villages in Florida. And just to give an example, I'm going to do a share screen with you so you can see exactly what I'm looking at right now, on the market. I think we need to, something that we need to understand is that since the market was so bananas, really, we have to take everything into account. So the first thing I want to share with you is this particular um, situation here. Actually, that's not the slide either, but I want to share with you 85 properties are actually on the market. 85 properties on the market right at the moment. Okay. So, that tells you that number one, obviously inventory has increased, but not so much to the point where we can't recognize, what's going on in the marketplace. So this is what I want to share with you. I've done this a couple of times where we're looking at, if you're looking at this screen here and you're seeing what's available. This is, live on the MLS right at the moment. And it tells you, look, we've got a low of 139, and obviously this is in the historic section, east of 441. And, you're looking at maybe the lowest priced, patio villa here is going to be, we've got one for 234, but that's only a 2-1. And now, and that's, way south, obviously built in 2020. And now you're looking at, the patio villas that we come to know and love. 265 is the low, right? And it goes up from there. In fact, this one I'm familiar with. We went to see this on Caravan last week, I believe, last week or the week before. 285.9 is on the market 13 days. Actually, yeah, it would have been 2 weeks ago. So it tells you this is how many properties. We got 24 properties under 300,000. Over 300,000. We've got another 50 properties between 315 to 425, over 425 to 604. There's another 25 properties to get us to 75. And then, you're looking at, this is how many properties over 725,000. You've got, what is that? 9, 10 properties right there. So that gives you an idea of what's going on, including some properties that are, we've got 4 properties that are over $1 million. Now, if we were to do a search, I'm going to do a live search here to give you, I wasn't planning on doing this, but it made me think about doing this because I think it's important to see what's pending out there as well. So we're going to do a search. This is my special way of doing a search. You guys are seeing this in public right now. And we're going to do this. But, just like I said before, the tenor of around the country is kind of normalcy, nothing too crazy either way. So this gives you, we're going to look at pending properties, which basically means that people put a contract on this, an offer, and the offer was accepted, and now we've got a contract, and we're moving towards closing, hasn't closed. So this gives you an idea, not of pending price, but basically the price it was when it was active. And it tells you, okay, this is where we are. This is how many properties. We've got 186 properties in the villages that are under contract right now. A lot of this, you see 25 properties that are under 230. So if you're in that price range, there are a few, you might have an opportunity. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We have a little bit of an opportunity for buyers to come back into play. Not that you can make crazy offers, but at least you have a chance to actually win the bid. Okay. And wanted to look at what's under contract, over 700,000, and it's pretty healthy, right? Once again, about 9 or 10 properties, and four properties that are over $1 million that are under contract, moving towards closing. In the past, that's a big difference in what we're seeing. And some of these properties, most of these properties are going to be one that's going to be in the southern area, Steel Path, south of 44, but most of them are going to be through the 6s. Between the 6s, this one here, actually, Allende is just north of 466, actually not too far away from our office. So it gives you an idea of, the various areas. These are probably areas a little bit closer to Sumter Landing right here, specifically the year built there. So that gives you an idea of what's going on there. If we pull up some stats, let's take a look at some stats on pending properties. Okay. You're going to see, let's look at pending properties here. Give you a historic account of it. This gives you a historic account of pending property, or active properties rather, and just give you an idea of where we're coming from. High back in the mid, talking about middle of July, in the middle of summer last year in 2020, saw a peak there. So that tells you what's going on, like this cliff of active properties, like incredible. Now we've picked up a little bit. So the big question is where are we going, right? We're seeing an increase there. Where does it go? How high does it go? And I think, we would, in order for us to really get back to, the inventory levels that we saw back in 2019, 2020, we would have to see, if you think about this, an inverse effect, the drastic movement that we saw back in early part of this year, all the way to the middle part of this year. We'd have to see the same kind of effect in reverse. In other words, we'd have to see the inverse proportion of demand. In other words, we saw demand do this, go straight through the roof. We'd have to see demand go straight through the floor and, really, really have some issues, right? And, Snowbound is asking, how fast is the market softening? So let's take a look. I want to bring back, let's look at I'm going to show you on my screen here and some things that I watch to really tell what's really going on in real estate. Because real estate has an impact. It's not just about how many properties are selling. It's not just about how much your home is worth, which, by the way, we would happy to do a free market analysis for you, that kind of thing. If that's something you desire, if you want to know the value of your property, just let me know. But it's more than that. It's really about the economy and getting people working, and real estate does that. It's not just realtors, it's all the people that we're involved with, whether it's the carpet people, the cabinet people. I'm involved in a property that needs complete renovation right now, and obviously we're employing a lot of people, from the handyman to person that's going to do the trash out, to the painter, to the electrician, to the flooring people, to the air conditioning people, and the money we're going to spend with hardware stores, and whether it's Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. It's just, there's a lot of movement. Especially in the villages. We're seeing a lot of homes that need renovation and updating. So, once a property gets sold, not to mention the taxes, the dock stamps on the deed, the money that goes to the state, and just this constant flow in the economy. So there's a lot riding on real estate from that end, besides, realtors and people making money, and sellers making money, and buyers buying things and getting a home. There's a lot of impact. But I look at this to give you an idea. This right here is really important to me. And I look at this every 7 days. And the first thing is, the new listings. There's 27 new listings in the last 7 days. That's actually, if you look at the curve, that's going to be on the lower end of the scale, but it's been consistent that way. I mean, it's not ridiculously low. I think we had a low probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. It was like in the teens. Like, whoa! It's like, that was probably right around June. Like, this is. I was a little bit nervous because we were going too low in inventory. 27 new listings, price decreases. That's a lot. 15. And I'm seeing this, and I had this conversation with one of my realtors earlier on today, where we're talking about, okay, we're getting some sellers that are pushing the envelope on price, and what we're seeing is that, all right, we can't get that price anymore. Like, way up here, we're going to have to come down a little bit, okay, or in some cases a lot. Let's come back to a little bit more of reality because the market's changed. So a little bit more in favor of buyers, still not in favor of buyers, but it's a little bit better for sure. So like I was saying, for buyers, good time to come back in the market. Interest rates still low, of course, if you're planning on financing. But if you're not, either way, a little bit more to choose from, not a ton. But we are seeing some price decreases. And by the way, if you're a buyer and you go out there and you're looking at properties, I think you can be a little bit aggressive and test the market a little bit. 50 sold properties are closed, and 48 pending, which means that we're still seeing movement. So what's interesting is this, just the overall tenor is this, to give you an idea. By the way, if you're going to interview anybody, doesn't matter, listing agent, buyer's agent, ask them about the numbers, ask them about what's happening, not just a generic, how's the market? And I preach this to my realtors all the time. Don't just tell our people the market is good, it's great, it's slow, it's fast, whatever. Like, we need to be better than that as an industry. And and ask any of my realtors at Realty Executives, is like, that's what we talk about all the time, is what's the tenor of the marketplace? Is it moving fast? Is it moving slow? And this is what's really happening. This is why we know it's moving slow or moving fast. And to answer anybody's question right now, is the market soft, or how fast is it softening? It's not softening fast. It's a very gradual. It's like we're having a soft landing on marshmallows or cotton balls, right? Not the crash into the mountain type of thing, which I think is very healthy and very good. And how I'm measuring that is looking at our low in inventory back in the middle of June, where we were like 48 properties in the villages, and now we're at 85. It's taken 4 months. Where are we? October, so about 4 months now to get to 40 more properties. It's been a very gradual increase. Still, we're watching it very closely. And on top of it, we're also looking at the metrics, looking at the active properties, new actives. You saw that 27 properties, and then new under contracts. I think we saw upper 40s, and sold closed 50. That tells you a lot. Still, activity. People are writing offers. Things are happening. There are buyers out there. That's why I'm showing this, so the public can really see what's going on, as opposed to just taking somebody's word for it, watching the news. Forget the news. This is the news, by the way. You're getting the real life. This is what's going on. And I'm seeing very similar things around the country with my coaching clients as well. So leave some comments. Subscribe if you would. That'd be fabulous. And if you do have questions or comments, or anything that you're seeing, just leave it in the chat section. And remember, the one thing I want to give you a little extra value. One other thing, and that is on appraising. Okay, so we are seeing. Make sure if you are getting an appraisal, either on the buyer or seller side, make sure that the appraiser actually goes in the property. I've had a couple of cases where the appraiser is not going in the property. And some of you might think, well, how can they possibly know what the value is, especially if they don't go in? Not every home is the same. Different people have different upgrades. I've seen it. Identical home, identical floor plan, similar location, and dramatic increase in value because there's so much more in the home. For instance, you can have carpeting, regular the mill carpeting versus, high-end hardwood floors and countertops, and, crown molding and upper grade appliances that come with them. So there's a lot of differences there. And that's what makes actually our job a little bit tricky in configuring or trying to figure out what value is. So if you have questions, let me know. 352-572-3796. You can text me questions as well, or you can call me 352-572-3796. Happy Friday, everybody. And looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care.